started with a knock on my bedroom door that didn't wait for permission. "Hey, we need to talk," Mom said. Standing there with that forced calm she always used when she knew I wasn't going to like what came next. Behind her stood him, Jeff, her new husband. The man she married barely 6 months after the divorce. He hovered like a shadow at her back, arms crossed, already looking like he was owed something. I sat up from my bed, heart already pounding because I knew this wasn't just a talk. "What is it?" I asked, my voice flat, already bracing. "Mom stepped in first. Jeff and I have been talking, and we think it's time you started helping out more around here." "Helping out?" I echoed. Jeff stepped forward like he'd been waiting for his cue. "Babysitting. You're 16, Maya. Old enough to watch the kids for a few hours while we're at work or out. It's your duty now, part of being in this family." His words hung in the air, thick and entitled. "It's your duty now, part of being in this family." I felt my stomach twist. I looked at Mom, expecting ... hoping ... she'd step in, soften his tone, explain that it was just temporary, or ask if I was okay with it. But she didn't. She just looked tired and guilty. "Are you serious right now?" I said, standing up. "I'm not their babysitter, not even their sister." Jeff raised his eyebrows, clearly not expecting pushback. "Well, technically you are. We're married now. This is a blended family." I almost laughed. "A blended family? You've known me for 5 minutes, and you want me to start raising your kids?" "Watch your tone," he said sharply. Mom winced. "Maya, please don't make this harder than it needs to be." "Harder for who, Mom? For you?" My voice cracked. "You moved him in while Dad's boxers were still in the garage. I'm supposed to just accept that this man is part of my life, and not just part of it, but in charge?" "I'm not trying to replace your dad," Jeff said. Though his tone made it clear he wasn't entirely against the idea, I stared at them both. "I'm not your daughter," I said, voice steady this time. "So don't expect me to act like it." Jeff's face flushed. "You live under my roof now. You eat the food I buy. You sleep in a bed I paid for. You want to act like you're not my daughter? Fine, but you don't get to cherry pick when you're a part of the family, and when you're not." Mom looked like she wanted to say something but didn't. She just stood there, silent. That silence broke something in me. That night, I lay awake, listening to Jeff's kids, Oliver, 7, and Emma, 4, laughing and screaming down the hall. Wasn't their fault. They were just kids. But every time I heard their voices, it felt like an intrusion, a reminder that everything in my life had changed without my permission. Dad used to say, "Your home should be your peace." No. Home felt like a war zone. No. Like I was the enemy for not adjusting fast enough, not smiling wide enough, not pretending to be okay. The next morning, I woke up to a note on the fridge. "Maya, please make sure the kids have lunch. Jeff and I had to run errands. Back by 3. Love you." No asking, no warning, just ... expected. I stood there holding the note like it was a time bomb. Emma came running in, her tiny hands sticky with something. "You make waffles?" she chirped. I blinked at her. "What?" "Mom makes waffles when she babysits," she said, plopping herself on a chair. "I want waffles." "I'm not your mom," I mumbled under my breath, too quietly for her to hear, but I made her waffles. Oliver, too. I made them eat at the table, clean up after themselves, and sit quietly with cartoons while I tried to read in the living room. But the whole time I was angry, not at the kids, but at them, Mom and Jeff. This wasn't about pitching in. It was about control, about making me bend until I snapped. When Mom and Jeff finally came home, he clapped me on the back like we were buddies. "See? Not so bad, huh?" I shrugged him off. "Don't touch me." He stiffened. "Excuse me." I turned to Mom. "This is not okay. Not your built-in babysitter." "You live here," Jeff cut in. "You all help out. That's how this works." "I didn't agree to this," I said. "I'm not your free labor just because my mom married you." Mom looked torn, but I could see the exhaustion in her eyes, the way she folded so quickly these days. "Maya, please. Jeff's under a lot of pressure at work," and I cut her off. "I'm under pressure too, Mom. I'm 16. Trying to survive junior year, and now I have to raise your new husband's kids?" "You're being dramatic," Jeff said. No, I'm being honest, I snapped. You're not my dad. You never will be. I'm not your daughter. So don't treat me like you own me. His face went red. Then maybe you should think about what happens when someone who feeds and houses you decides he doesn't have. 2 anymore? Mom gasped. Jeff, but he didn't back down.
House.
He just looked at me like he was challenging me to dare say another word, so I did. I went to my room. I packed a bag. When Dad came to pick me up that night, he didn't ask many questions. He just looked at me, and then at Jeff, standing on the porch with his arms folded like some kind of guardian of the gates. Dad put a hand on my shoulder and said, "You ready?" I nodded. Jeff spoke as we turned to leave. Running away won't solve anything. Dad turned to him, calm, deadly. She's not running. She's choosing peace. I slept better that night at Dad's place than I had in months. A few days later, Mom called. She cried. She apologized. She said she hadn't realized how bad it was. That Jeff just got intense sometimes and didn't mean it the way it sounded. I stayed quiet because I'd heard it loud and clear. I wasn't his daughter, and I never would be. And if my own mother couldn't protect me, then I would protect myself. I didn't know Jeff obedience. I didn't know Mom forgiveness. I definitely didn't know anyone my silence. So when Mom asked, "Will you come back? Just to talk?" I said, "Not until he apologizes. Not until you stop letting him treat me like property." She didn't know what to say to that. And for once, that wasn't my problem.